step. Maybe I'm attempting to do the off balance to the left. It's not working, okay? That's your sign to switch sides. That's when you'll go from stepping to now hooking. Lift, hop, now we're here, okay? You'll see that whenever I land, my knee is to my chest right now. And I have his legs kind of like resting on me. Now I can use that collar grip to push him away even more, and I can step. Now I can really step on him because now his base is separated, especially if I want to start working my entries to other types of guards, maybe to a deeper de la Riva. Okay, we'll get to those attacks later, but we gotta have this off balance down. We're gonna start by stepping on our partner's leg, and we're gonna look to spread the base so that as I come up, I can get my head into good position. I sit up and I catch. You'll see how I fed it to my hand, and I now have control of his posture. So if he tries to posture up, number one, I have his sleeve, but I also have a free hand to hold his collar. Try to posture up now. Now he can't move, okay, and we're here. A lot of times if we're trying to come up for a single leg, is we can take our foot and we can go from here and start tucking it behind our partner's leg. We're basically gonna do a technical stand up and get to our feet. Now this can either be a single leg, like this, or sometimes I can even, if I time it right, I can be here and I can kind of like dump him from here. Use my head, I put him down like this, just with head position. This is a position that a lot of times you'll teach whenever the person struggles with the berimbolo, so this could be a good alternative too. But even on its own, it's still a very good move and something you see being done at the high level. All right, so we're gonna be here. We land on our elbow. If I had the collar or the sleeve, doesn't matter. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna try to use that foot that was stepping on my partner's thigh or hip area, and it's gonna transition to the floor. The easiest way to transition here is to use the foot to force him into a couple of back steps like this, where now his far leg is more exposed, and I can make a quick transition with my left hand to the far leg. So we'll kind of go from here, take a leap of faith, and just capture that far pant leg. You can do it like this, but bringing your knee behind, I think, is a better pit stop. But I can use my knee to kind of create some space to be able to do that leg pummel. So I push him forward like this, and now I'm gonna push him off of me. Now I scoot using my grip. So I'm holding the belt, holding the pants, and I scoot back like this. Now as I'm squaring up, I can do a quick leg pummel, and I get behind him. This is a position that I really like to go for whenever my partner on top normally favors more like movement style passing, pulling, redirecting, and trying to get his hands far, okay? I either need to move really fast to adjust my hip and get to this deep de la Riva. You see I moved around his leg. If I know speed maybe isn't on my side, if I got him here, I need to hold him in place. So I'll grab his tricep like this and I'll kind of weigh my pinky down. Then now I kind of stiff arm him. I make space with my right foot just to get right here. You'll see how my hip comes off the floor, and then I do a hip escape and extend my left foot at the same time all the way to the far leg. As he's readjusting, I just tuck my foot right in. Try to almost bait them by leaving this leg here on the person's like hip or thigh so that they have to post or make a grip. Okay, they're almost always gonna put their hand there. So we'll be on the sleeve, we break, and then I'm always locking my elbow to my side like this. We're gonna come up to an elbow, right? So we have the foot that's on the hip, and that's gonna help kick and get to here. Now that we're here, I'm gonna take my foot off and I'm gonna go inside hook right behind my partner's knee. After I've separated his base like this, I start falling, my foot goes here, I lift, and then I'm gonna punch his hand through. You see how his hand goes in between his legs. Our main attack from here is gonna be pummeling the shin to the inside and getting the shin rested on top of mine and on top of my forearm here, okay? If I can ever get to here, this is a perfect time to bring my knees to my chest and start pushing him to the side where he no longer has a post. Okay, we can take them over really easy this way. I like using the 2-on-1 anytime that I feel like I need to overpower my partner's one grip. Normally this happens whenever they really lock down like a collar grip or something that's really managing the distance well. You hold onto your partner's sleeve like this, and then from here, we start using knees. So I'm gonna release the pants, I'm gonna hold on to my partner's tricep, and then I'm gonna go into a hip escape here where my knee can then start going over top of his elbow. So we'll go from here to here. Knee gets in, and now I break. Now that I've broken that, I can use this kind of knee shield that I have built on his arm as a slingshot to go back to de la Riva, or oftentimes even go straight to the back attack. I use this position as my slingshot, where I wind up, I start pulling, and then I let my leg slip past, and I go with my knee right behind my partner's knee. Post my elbow, and then I build up to my knees from here. They want to try to drive this knee to the floor so that they can make the De La Riva weak and possibly eventually either shin slide or make me want to let go and push because the pressure is just too much for me to deal with. So if I'm here and I just try to push and sit up, a lot of times it's difficult. So what we do is we tense our body and we bring knees to the chest like this. And then now whenever I go to push, it's that much easier to get up to an elbow. If I get a really good off balance like I'm doing right now, you see his head is very far away from my chest. If this happens, then this is a perfect time to just remove the foot and do a quick pummel. And we're gonna start switching to the right hip. If he builds up right now, up to his knee, perfect time for me to lift with my knee, and then my left leg just slips underneath. So now we're gonna start looking at how we can play from De La Riva whenever we've got the underhook and the lapel fed around the De La Riva leg. This is one of the best controls that you can use in De La Riva when it comes to just trying to limit and shut down everything that the person on top can do. So we'll be here, you're playing normally, try to sit up to an elbow, and then start opening it from here. Slide down, then open it like this. Okay, try to hit like an off balance real quick or fall right to your back so that you can have something going on while you do the switch. Okay, then I can feed it to my hand like this. And then one thing to think about as you guys are playing any type of underhook De La Riva really is to try to flare this elbow the entire time. So if I'm flaring his elbow, I'm already seeing that his knee is moving and there's weight coming off of his foot. Okay, so if I combine that kind of flex of my arm with an off balance, I can get his foot off the floor very easily, okay? I can keep sliding my foot down and hit my foot sweep here to put him down, or let's come back. I could also readjust my hip and go deep De La Riva like this. Now I can reach for his far hip. Now, whenever I'm looking for an armbar in the De La Riva, the main thing that I'm searching for is getting my hips into my partner's like armpit here. Right, if I can get my hips underneath of his armpit, then I really can trap his shoulder. The main off balance I feel like I do, where I'm going this way, and I see that his hand touches the floor like this. The thing that's gonna stop this armbar, if you're not careful, is this knee here. When we're here, we use some of the concepts from earlier on that we practice when we work on keeping the head far and using the knee to push the partner's leg out of the way. Okay, when I'm here, I'm gonna use the grip that's on the collar and this foot that's on the hip to help me get a boost where I can now raise my hips into my partner's shoulder like this, and I'm hanging on the grip on the collar. From here is where I can pinch my top knee, and then my hand that was once on the pants can transition to his wrist. So I'll catch, I'll arch my back, and then you'll see how my foot now goes across his shoulders and I have my shin on the back of his head. Now I just need to get my hips up and over, and I rotate over top of my forehead. De La Riva, of course, but I'm using my De La Riva hook more than anything to try to turn his knee this way. I also like to take my leg that's not doing the De La Riva to step on my partner's knee. If my partner stays here and I kick his leg on this side, watch what happens to his other leg and his hip. So his leg turns like this. He just created the gap that I needed in order to fit my De La Riva hook in, and he also brought his own knee closer to my knee, which means that once he lands here, it'll be that much easier for me to capture his knee line. And then now the best grip that we can use is finding the belt so that we can really focus on closing this distance between our shoulder, our legs, and trying to get that close to his hip. See how my hand is releasing, and it's almost like hugging the whole leg. And when I get here, you can see my feet, they're hooking the far side of his torso.